On the world map, Iceland is just a small dot in the middle of the North Atlantic. But hidden within that small dot is a universe of impossible possibilities. A land where the sun never sets in summer, and the nights are long in winter, where volcanoes, ice, and the ocean coexist in a fierce yet breathtakingly beautiful symphony. Here, you can take a hot bath next to the president, sing karaoke in the snow, or meet someone who believes that elves are real. Iceland has no mosquitoes, ants, or even an army, but it has the world's largest DNA bank, the most independent women in Europe, and a society so progressive that same-sex marriage is welcomed without objection. Today, join us on a journey to discover 17 magical facts about Iceland, the most eccentric country on the planet, where every rule about nature, culture, and people is rewritten in its own way. Don't blink, because every moment in this land of ice and fire will make you believe the world still has wonders that no one has had time to tell. Number 1. The frozen land. Iceland, where there is no night in summer and no day in winter. A land so strange that the sun can shine for 24 hours straight, then suddenly disappear into darkness that lasts for months. With an area of more than 103,000 square kilometers, located close to the Arctic Circle, this country is like a wild piece forgotten in the middle of the cold ocean, but is where nature displays the most extraordinary things that Earth can create. Here, volcanoes and ice coexist, not in confrontation, but in harmony in a paradoxical symphony. Giant glaciers quietly flow next to the still smoldering crater. Each eruption, red lava flows through the meter-thick ice layer, creating a scene like a parallel world, both born and destroyed, both terrifying and fascinating. With a population of just 400,000, far fewer than the average American city, Iceland is one of the most sparsely populated countries on the planet. But it is precisely this isolation that has allowed it to maintain an uncanny beauty. No noise, no dust, just the sound of the wind whistling through the craters, the crackling of the ice beneath your feet, and the northern lights dancing across the night sky. In Iceland, even time seems to slow down, as if listening to the earth whisper its own story. Number 2. The beach without sunshine. Forget palm trees and golden sand. In Iceland, beauty wears black. On the southern coast lies Reykjavík, a legendary beach so otherworldly it feels like the edge of the universe. Here, black volcanic sand stretches endlessly beneath a silver sky, while colossal basalt columns rise like fortress walls carved by ancient gods. Waves crash with the power of thunder, reaching heights of over 40 feet, 12 meters, reminding every visitor that this land belongs to nature, not man. Reykjavík isn't just famous for its eerie beauty. It's a place that humbles even the boldest travelers. The sea here is unpredictable, known for its deadly sneaker waves that appear out of nowhere. Locals say the ocean has a spirit, one that demands respect and silence. It's not a place for swimming, but for standing still and feeling the heartbeat of the earth beneath your feet. Located about 110 miles, 177 kilometers, south of Reykjavík, the journey to this beach takes you past snow-draped mountains and lava fields that shimmer in mist. It's no wonder filmmakers from Game of Thrones to Rogue One chose this place to capture the feeling of another world. No sunshine, no crowds, just wind, sea, and shadow. And somehow, that makes it the most beautiful beach on Earth. Number 3. The land of Norse goddesses. Walk through the streets of Reykjavík, and you might think you've stepped into a Norse legend. The women here, with porcelain skin, icy blue eyes, and quiet confidence, look as though they've descended from the goddesses of Valhalla. Yet what truly defines them isn't beauty, but independence, a kind of inner fire that burns brighter than the midnight sun. In Iceland, Women don't wait for permission to lead. They run businesses, write books, climb glaciers, and raise families, often on their own terms. This is a country where gender equality isn't an ideal. It's a lifestyle. Iceland consistently ranks among the most gender-equal nations on Earth, and it shows in every interaction, from parliament to the local cafe. And when it comes to love, Icelanders keep things interesting. With a population of just about 400,000, the chances of dating a distant cousin are surprisingly high. That's why locals use a unique app called the Icelandic app, which lets users check family ties before swiping right. A charming mix of romance and pragmatism that only Iceland could invent. Foreign or local, what matters here isn't where you're from, but how genuine your heart is. In the land of Norse goddesses, loyalty, honesty, and respect are the truest forms of beauty. Number 4. The hot tub culture. In Iceland, hot tubs aren't just for relaxation. They're a way of life. Step into any town, and you'll find locals soaking in steaming geothermal pools from dawn till midnight, chatting, laughing, and sharing stories as snowflakes melt on their skin. These aren't luxury spas. They're the beating heart of Icelandic social life, the modern-day town square. The water, naturally heated by the Earth's volcanic energy, stays between 37 degrees Celsius and 40 degrees Celsius, creating a perfect balance between warmth and the crisp Arctic air. In these pools, everyone is equal, from artists to farmers, even the president himself. Titles disappear, hierarchies dissolve, and conversations flow as freely as the hot spring water. For Icelanders, this ritual is about more than cleansing the body. It's about cleansing the soul. The geothermal baths are where friendships form, business deals begin, and hearts heal. Many say they'd rather miss dinner than their evening soak. Visitors who join this tradition quickly understand why. As the northern lights ripple across the night sky and the water steams against the cold, time slows and Iceland whispers its timeless truth. That warmth isn't found in the weather, but in the people. Number 5. Escaping the world. Far from the cities and the hum of modern life, scattered across Iceland's endless white fields, stand hundreds of wooden cabins, small, self-built sanctuaries where people come to disappear. For some, it's a weekend escape. For others, it's a way of life. In a country where isolation feels more like freedom than loneliness, these cabins embody the Icelandic spirit, simple, self-reliant, and profoundly at peace with nature. Many of these homes have no electricity or internet, relying instead on spring water, wind energy, and firewood. Some are reachable only by off-road vehicles or a long hike through snow-covered valleys. Inside, life moves at a different pace. The crackle of a fireplace replaces phone notifications, and the silence outside becomes a companion, not an absence. This tradition of retreating into the wilderness is more than a lifestyle. It's a philosophy. Icelanders call it living with the land, a practice that echoes back to their Viking ancestors who learned to thrive by respecting the wild rather than conquering it. In these cabins, surrounded by nothing but wind and ice, the noise of the world fades away, and what remains is something rare: clarity. Number 6. The world's largest genetic bank. When people think of cutting-edge biotechnology, they imagine Silicon Valley or Tokyo, not a small island in the North Atlantic. Yet Iceland quietly holds one of the world's most extraordinary scientific treasures, the largest genetic bank on Earth relative to its population. The company behind it, Decode Genetics, has collected and analyzed DNA from more than 2/3 of all Icelanders, with full government support. This national effort began not out of curiosity, but out of care, to identify and prevent hereditary diseases that trace back to Viking bloodlines. Every participant volunteers willingly, proud that their DNA might help cure illnesses like cancer, heart disease, and Alzheimer's for future generations. What makes this achievement remarkable isn't just its scale, but its trust. In a world skeptical of data collection, Iceland has turned science into a shared mission. Here, genetics isn't about control, it's about compassion. With just a few clicks, an Icelander can discover their ancestral roots and even trace their lineage back to Viking settlers who arrived over 1,000 years ago. In Iceland, the past isn't forgotten. It's preserved in every strand of DNA. Number 7. A real Viking village. In the rugged north of Iceland, there's a place where time seems to have stopped 1,000 years ago. A real Viking village where people live, work, and celebrate just as their ancestors once did. Every wooden hut, thatched roof, and carved shield has been rebuilt with meticulous detail, transforming this quiet valley into a living museum of the Viking age. Here, visitors don't just watch history, they step into it. You can split logs, forge tools, weave wool, or bake bread on hot stones just as Norse settlers did centuries ago. During festivals, locals dress in full Viking armor, reenacting fierce battles and boat races across icy lakes, their war cries echoing through the mountains. But beyond the spectacle lies something deeper, a connection to the resilience that defines Iceland. These traditions remind people that survival here was never about dominance, but balance, knowing when to fight, when to yield, and when to simply endure. As the bonfire crackles and northern winds sweep across the fjord, it's easy to imagine the spirits of the old Norse warriors still watching, proud that their legacy continues to live, breathe, and sing in the land they once called home. Number 8. Life in Reykjavík. By day, Reykjavík moves at a human pace. Kids roll past in strollers, students glide by on bikes, and the cafe windows glow with that soft northern light. Order a flat white, take the corner table, and you'll hear half a dozen languages at once. Artists storyboarding a video, a fisherman checking tomorrow's swell, a coder pushing a late commit. When locals step out of town, they don't go far. A soak at the Blue Lagoon or a whale-watching run on Faxaflói Bay are the default day trips, like Parisians choosing a park. When the sun slips, Reykjavík changes gear. Live bands warm up tiny pubs, rooftop bars fill with the clink of glasses and the view. City lights meeting the Atlantic does half the talking. If you're collecting addresses, start with B5 Club for high-energy sets, then cross over to Prekid for the kind of late-night crowd that still believes in choruses. And yes, the rumor is true. Karaoke is practically a civic sport. People sing everywhere. Bars, living rooms, even mid-soak in a hot spring. That's Reykjavík's secret. It isn't big, but it's generous. It gives you a seat, a song, and a clear night to walk home under. Here, community isn't a slogan. It's the soundtrack. Number 9. Breathtaking destinations. Iceland feels like 3 planets stitched together. Start with the Blue Lagoon, a wind-brushed bowl of milky turquoise water steeped in silica, ringed by black lava rock. It isn't just a soak, it's a collision of elements. Steam rising into cold air while the ground hums with volcanic warmth. Stay still, and the pool turns mirror, reflecting a sky that seems closer than usual. Head east and scale the vastness of Vatnajökull National Park. The Vatnajökull Glacier, among Europe's largest, moves so slowly it sounds like silence. Guides lead you into ice caves that glow crystal blue, their walls rippled like frozen waves. Touch the ceiling, and you're laying a hand on winters from centuries ago. Outside, ridgelines of snow and ash remind you this island is always being written and rewritten. Then cut inland to the highlands, Landmannalaugar. Here the mountains are rhyolite, painted in strokes of ochre, moss green, charcoal, and rose. Trails thread through fresh lava fields, past emerald lakes and rust-red cliffs, toward natural hot springs that feel like a reward carved into the root itself. Pick any of these and you get a masterpiece. Link all 3 in one trip and you understand Iceland's secret. It doesn't offer variety, It offers extremes, lined up back to back, daring you to keep your camera steady. Number 10. The 100% Real Elf Protection Agency. Yes, elves in Iceland are taken seriously. It might sound like folklore, but here, myth can stop machines. When construction threatens areas believed to belong to the Huldufolk, the hidden people, projects are paused, routes are changed, and million-dollar plans are redrawn to protect an elf hill. Surveys show many Icelanders don't claim elves exist, yet few are willing to disrespect the idea. It's about honoring stories tied to the land. One famous case near Reykjavík saw locals halt a highway project until engineers redesigned the route to spare the elves' home. At the center of it all is Ragnhildur Jónsdóttir, known as the elf language translator, who helps planners balance tradition and progress. In a country leading the world in science and technology, Iceland still protects the unseen, proving that progress and belief can share the same ground. Number 11. The only country without ants or mosquitoes. If buzzing mosquitoes or kitchen ants drive you crazy, Iceland will feel like paradise. It's one of the few countries on Earth with no mosquitoes and no ants, a rare gift of nature and climate. Scientists say the reason is simple. Iceland's volatile weather, volcanic soil, and sudden freezes make it impossible for mosquito larvae or ant colonies to survive. Pools of standing water drain too quickly through porous lava rock, and temperature swings stop insects from completing their life cycle. While other countries spend billions fighting mosquito-borne diseases, Iceland's environment does the job naturally. You can hike through lava fields, picnic by waterfalls, or camp under the midnight sun without a single bite or buzz. It's another reminder that Iceland isn't just beautiful, it's balanced. Even nature here seems to protect its people in quiet, extraordinary ways. Number 12. Alcohol isn't sold in supermarkets. If you land in Reykjavík planning to grab a bottle of wine with your groceries, think again. In Iceland, alcohol is sold only in state-run stores called Vinbúðin, not in regular supermarkets. The rule isn't random. It's designed to encourage moderation and protect public health. You'll find these stores in most towns, though with limited hours, especially on weekends and holidays. Locals plan ahead, buy before closing, or head to a bar if you're late. Inside, shelves are tidy, staff are friendly, and Icelandic craft beers and local schnapps take the spotlight. It's less an inconvenience than a reflection of Icelandic values, freedom with balance. By keeping alcohol separate from everyday shopping, the country reduces impulse buying and excessive drinking. In a land that prizes clean air, clear water, and calm living, even wine follows the same principle. Enjoy, but never overdo it. Number 13. Iceland's unique and bizarre festivals. Stroll through Reykjavík, and it feels like a page from a Norse saga. Icelandic women, fair-skinned, blue-eyed, confident, carry the quiet strength of ancient goddesses. But their true power isn't appearance. It's independence. They run companies, climb glaciers, write books, and raise families their own way. Here, equality isn't an idea. It's everyday life. Iceland consistently ranks among the world's most gender-equal nations, and you can see it everywhere. Women leading in politics, business, and culture with calm assurance. Love, too, has its own Icelandic twist. With a population under 400,000, locals use the Icelanding app to check if a match might be a distant cousin, a uniquely practical take on modern romance. For Icelanders, beauty lies in authenticity. Whether you're local or foreign, what matters most is honesty, loyalty, and respect. The timeless virtues of the Norse goddesses themselves. Number 14. Cost of living in Iceland. Planning to stay in Iceland? It's not cheap, but it's fair for what you get. Clean air, safe streets, and nearly 100% renewable energy from hydro and geothermal sources. A one-bedroom apartment in Reykjavík costs about $1,200 a month, with utilities around $200 thanks to efficient green power. Groceries average $300 to $400, public transport about $100, and gyms between $50 to $70. A monthly budget of $2,000 to $2,500 covers most living needs if you plan wisely and cook at home. Imported goods and dining out can be pricey, but quality replaces quantity here. Tap water is pure, neighborhoods are peaceful, and walking home late feels safe. Iceland's cost of living reflects its priorities. Fewer luxuries, more balance. For many visitors, that trade feels worth it, and often they stay far longer than planned. Number 15. Unique Icelandic cuisine. Icelandic food is simple, pure, and built on honesty. No excess, no shortcuts. Take skyr, the country's signature dairy delight. Thick, creamy, and slightly tangy, it's been made for over 1,000 years and is eaten at breakfast with berries or as a light dessert. When the cold settles in, nothing beats lamb soup. Tender local lamb simmered with root vegetables and herbs until the broth tastes like warmth itself. It's a staple everywhere, from roadside cafes to family kitchens. Seafood is Iceland's heartbeat. Cod and salmon, caught fresh from icy waters, are cooked with minimal seasoning so the natural flavor shines. Pair it with rugbrauð, the dense, sweet rye bread traditionally baked by geothermal heat, a taste of the island's volcanic soul. Icelandic cuisine values restraint and respect for nature. Each dish tells the same story: fresh, local, timeless. Proof that simplicity can be unforgettable. Number 16. No Army, no Navy, no Air Force. And here's something that might surprise you. Iceland has no Army, no Navy, and no Air Force. Instead, security looks very different here. White-hulled ships and rescue helicopters of the Icelandic Coast Guard. Their mission is practical and human. Patrol fishing grounds, keep shipping lanes safe, monitor the coastline, and launch search and rescue when the weather flips from calm to wild in minutes. Without barracks or drill squares, the rhythm of daily life feels lighter. Towns face the ocean and glaciers, not gates and guard posts. On stormy nights, the sound people recognize isn't a convoy. It's rotor blades pushing into sleet toward a trawler in trouble, or a cutter threading black waves to bring someone home. Protection here means radar screens lit at midnight and a steady voice on the radio. "We've got you." For visitors, that calm is easy to notice. Safe streets, unhurried evenings, and communities used to helping each other when the wind changes. It's an unusual model, but it fits an island that lives with the sea. Rather than projecting force, Iceland invests in the places danger actually shows up, out on the water and in the weather, trusting its Coast Guard to meet it first, fast, and face-to-face. Number 17. The first country to legalize same-sex marriage. In Iceland, equality isn't debated, it's lived. This small island was one of the first nations to legalize same-sex marriage, making love and family a simple right, not a political fight. When the law passed, there were no protests or grand speeches, just quiet approval and the sense that the country had taken one more natural step forward. Every summer, that spirit fills the streets during Reykjavík Pride. Rainbow flags hang from balconies, families gather downtown, and music drifts through the air. What stands out most is the calm. There's no opposition, no hostility, only celebration. Schools, community groups, and even local businesses join in as part of everyday life. Here, inclusion isn't an event, it's routine. Buses reroute for the parade, police guide traffic with a smile, and everyone belongs without needing to prove why. In a land of glaciers and fire, this is Iceland's truest warmth, a place where equality simply feels natural. 17 facts, one spirit. Iceland is where extremes learn to coexist. Fire and ice share the same horizon. Elves live beside data labs, and a country with no army still feels safer than most. You've seen black beaches roar, glaciers breathe blue, and people gather in hot springs as if community itself were a form of warmth. Even love here is free, legalized, celebrated, and never questioned. Iceland isn't just beautiful, it's intentional. Every choice, from clean energy to quiet equality, tells the same story. Balance over noise, meaning over excess. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the most eccentric country on Earth. Until next time, keep your heart curious and your world open.